No matter the hour on your clock, we are here united by a shared curiosity about the future. A future whereby AI native networks and 6G will play an essential role. While 6G promises revenue growth and OpEx reduction, we cannot overlook the reality that our telecommunication networks remain under constant attack. My name is Rudi and I'd like to welcome you to this webinar on Nokia's 6G security blueprint. This is our fourth session of the year. In previous episodes, we explored the value of 6G, AI, and sustainability. The 6G study phase in 3GPP started earlier this year, and we expect that 6G will be commercialized by the end of this decade. Later in the webinar, we will touch upon what has been discussed 2 weeks ago at the 3GPP meeting in Dallas. Before I introduce our guest speakers, I want to share 3 numbers to remind us all on the importance of security and trust. 33 terabit per second. That was the gigantic size of the distributed denial of service attack against the gaming provider that our Nokia D-Field platform observed on October 9th. Recently, we published our 11th Threat Intelligence Report, combining operational data, deep research, and a global survey of 160 telecom security professionals. And the findings are striking. 63% of telecommunication providers have been hit by living of the land attacks. 55% report encountering malware specifically tailored to telecom infrastructure. It is clear that the security and the trustworthiness of our telecommunication systems are more important than ever before. Today I'm joined by 4 of our security experts, and together we will discuss the next 30 minutes how we can make 6G the most cyber resilient and secure mobile network ever. We will explore what we can learn from previous mobile generations, we will look at Nokia's proposed 6G security solutions, and we will review the current status of security standardization efforts in 3GPP. Let's get started with a big picture question for Christian. You have been working in this space for a long time. What lessons have you taken from previous generations, and what emerging threat vectors do you see shaping 6G?
Yeah, thanks, Rudi. So as we've learned, telecommunication networks will play a crucial role in our societies and economies of the 2030s, in particular 6G mobile networks. But before we look into the Nokia proposed architecture for security for these networks, let's first have a look at the lessons learned from earlier generations, in particular 5G. So many of the threat vectors have not changed since 5G has been developed. So hence 6G should leverage 5G's robust security features to address these remaining attack vectors. So examples include, if you think about the user equipment interaction with the network, procedures related to authentication and key agreement, or the concealment of the subscription permanent identifier. Further examples, if you look at the core network, for example, the access control to network function services in the service-based architecture are things that we will reuse and further leverage during 6G times. Continuing to the next lesson learned, we have the notion of a timely development of security features. So the 6G security should be designed at an early stage, since post-design changes can be very impractical. In fact, if they have impact on hardware, as is the case frequently for lower layer radio security features, they are even very costly. Third lesson learned comprises the comprehensive system and security design. For example, during 5G times, different organizations have looked into edge computing enablers that have also resulted in siloed solutions for security. This we should definitely avoid when designing 6G. Finally, a lesson learned is to design the 6G system in an adaptive manner. That means that the security architecture needs to be ready to integrate security solutions that we don't know yet, and that need to address yet unknown or only emerging threat vectors. At Nokia, we have looked into a few examples of those threat vectors. I will run you through 3 of them here. So one example is related to the emergence of cryptographically relevant quantum computers. which experts expect to arise in 25 years, or even some experts say already in 10 years. So these impose a realistic threat to the current cryptography schemes. So hence 6G security mechanisms need to incorporate proper encryption methods that are quantum secure. Another example arises from the developments in the area of artificial intelligence. The according instruments can be used to offensively craft adversarial inputs. Examples comprise poisoning of models or data, or the usage of artificial intelligence to design large-scale attacks and hence amplify current cyber attacks in an automated manner. The third example I would like to highlight for you comprises software-defined radios. Hardware for software-defined radios, as well as vehicles that may bring these radios into the correct positions, think of drones, for example, are becoming increasingly affordable, if not to say almost cheap. These can be used together with artificial intelligence methods to automate the attacks, to execute large-scale attacks, for example, by spoofing signals or implementing jamming attacks. The 6G system needs to be ready to cope with these things. So these are just three of the emerging threat vectors we see. Together with our partners, Nokia has done security research in many more areas, as you can see here. So this comprises the items I've mentioned before in the non-access stratum security area, but also in leveraging the existing 5G security mechanisms in the service-based architecture. But we also will look into quantum-resistant security mechanisms and AIML security. I will now hand back to Rudi, who will introduce the next speaker to you, and thus closing my session. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian, for connecting the dots between the history and the future ahead and giving that broad stroke overview of the 6G security activities at Nokia. Divya, welcome. May I ask you to share how 6G security is tackled at Nokia, and can you please give us a concrete example?
Thank you, Rudi. The analysis of lessons learned from 5G and previous generations, as well as the new security demands from users, operators, and society, have led Nokia to a secure by design paradigm, as shown in this slide. At the core of our strategy, represented by the central blue diamond, is secure by design. This is the one in our 1 plus 4 approach. It signifies a fundamental shift. Security is treated as a business requirement, not an optional add on. We are no longer waiting for problems to happen before adding security. Instead, we are building it in right from the start. Security is now part of the architecture itself, embedded into every component and every process from day one. This proactive approach also simplifies the overall design, reducing complexity and making security easier to manage and far more effective. Think of it like constructing a building. Security isn't something we bolt on later, it's part of the blueprint from the very beginning. Realizing this security by design paradigm will result into four main characteristics as shown in the outer shell of this figure, which forms our plus four approach. One is privacy preserving, meaning building privacy in from the start, collecting only the data we truly need, which is called as data minimization, anonymizing the private data, and giving users clear control and consent. The goal is simple. Users should trust that their data is protected. Next is resilient and reliable. We live in a time where sophisticated attacks are the norm, not an exception. We have already seen the emerging 6G threats in our previous presentation. So, security isn't just about preventing breaches, it's about ensuring the network can withstand attacks, recover quickly from failures, and keep operating without interruption. If a critical server goes down, a resilient network seamlessly fades over to backup systems. So, the end user never even notices. Reliability equals trust. Third is automated. Security has to be intelligent and automated, detecting, responding to, and even predicting threats in real time. Sustainability is the fourth and the most important aspect where security shouldn't come at the cost of the planet. We are talking about lightweight cryptographic algorithms, energy aware security features, and leaner security designs that still deliver robust protection but with a smaller carbon footprint. Imagine implementing a security protocol that's just as strong but uses 30% less compute power. That sounds good, is it? So we should be environmentally responsible. Together, these four pillars create a network that is trusted, resilient, smart, and future ready. Now, let's consider how we approach implementing these security features. Nokia's security structure comprises three pillars: reuse, reinforce, and redesign to address both existing and novel security challenges. Reusing means existing 5G features we are reusing. We leverage proven security from 5G to build a strong foundation. Reinforce means security features from 5G need significant updates or extension. And redesign is security features are not available in 5G and we need to newly develop such features. Examples are novel security mechanisms for AI driven network slicing or securing holographic communication. Nokia's OnePlus 4 security approach, strategically implemented through reuse, reinforcement, and redesign, ensures a resilient and trustworthy 6G foundation. Keeping on this foundation, I will move to the next slide where we will show how a holistic AI native security and trust framework is developed. Here you see a simplified representation of an AI model's journey. It begins with data providers supplying training data, which then undergoes model training to produce a trained model. This model is then deployed, and during the inference phase, it processes input to generate analytics output. Each of these stages, from data ingestion to output, presents potential vulnerabilities that must be secured. Left side, we have seen some threats. Data and model poisoning is one of the important threats which can happen during the training phase or even in the inference phase, which means an attacker can inject corrupted or misleading data. Imagine a situation where network traffic logs used for training is manipulated. So, for a congestion prediction model, what will happen? This could cause the AI to make wrong decisions like misallocating bandwidth or triggering unnecessary network reconfiguration. So, the impact of such attacks is huge. Next is data leakage. Sensitive information can slip out at many points during this life cycle. It may be raw subscriber data, or from the trained model, or even from the analytics output. This might mean unintentionally exposing user location pattern or call detail insights which are extremely sensitive and regulated. And the third and important threat is consent violation. Telecom operators collect huge amounts of personal data like location or usage patterns, and it is crucial that users give proper granular consent for collecting this data. If a subscriber already gave consent to share their location only for emergency services, what if that same data is used for marketing analytics also? It is kind of violating the consent, which can lead to serious privacy breaches and major regulatory consequences. To counter these threats and build trust, our framework implements a comprehensive set of solutions, some of which are shown on the right side of this slide. Robust training and adversarial detection. To protect our AI systems, we use advanced techniques that make our models resilient against poisoning attacks and capable of detecting adversarial inputs during both training and inference, like data sanitization techniques to filter out suspicious or corrupted data. Similarly, some anomaly detectors that can flag unusual patterns. Next is privacy enhancing techniques. To prevent the data leakage and protect sensitive information, we use state of the art privacy enhancing techniques like federated learning, where the data never leaves the system, differential privacy, where some noise is added to your private data, and homomorphic encryption. All this ensures user data remains protected at every stage. Granular dynamic consent management. To address our consent violation, our framework uses advanced systems that manage user consent both dynamically and at a very granular level, meaning I can give a control over what exactly how my data should be used. For example, I can choose to give consent only for a specific location or only during a particular time window. Next is explainable inference, which is very important in this AI native world. For critical AI applications, when we give some predictions or make a decision, it needs to be associated with some justification why that decision is made. There, explainable AI comes. It gives us transparency into the model reasoning, which is key for auditing, debugging, and building trust with users. An example is if the system predicts a high load, explainable AI can tell us it's because of more users are connected, maybe due to a specific event on that day. Next is access control and API security. The foundational security measures like stringent access control and robust API security are essential to protect the integrity of the AI pipeline. preventing unauthorized access and ensuring secure communication between all the AI components. By addressing these challenges with the holistic set of solutions, Nokia is building an AI native 6G network where intelligence is not only powerful but also inherently secure, trustworthy, and privacy preserving, enabling its full potential for societal benefit. Thank you, and back to Rudy.
Thank you, Divya, for bringing the Secure by Design vision to life and showing us how an AI native security and trust framework can truly take shape. And building on that foundation, I'd like to welcome Saurabh. Saurabh, you are not only Nokia's head of delegation in 3GPP SA3, but also the chair of the Security Working Group at the Telecommunications Standardization Development Society India. You just returned from the SA3 meeting in Dallas, so can you please give us a status update on where the ecosystem stands with respect to 6G security standardization?
Thank you, Rudi. To begin our discussion on CGP 6G standards, it's important to acknowledge the significant groundwork laid by various standard development organizations over the last few years. As depicted in the left-hand side of the slide, 5G security forms a robust foundation for evolution of 6G. CGP has been diligent in continually updating the 5G security standards to address the emerging threats and vulnerability. Building on this, 6G security should strategically leverage the proven strength of 5G security standard. Turning to the regional and global SDO, organizations such as TSDSI, ITF, GSMA, ETIS, ITSC, and CCSA have played a major role through the substantial research and collaborative activity, further strengthening the foundation for 6G security. On the right-hand side, you will notice that CGP addresses the full spectrum of 6G security concern through the three in-depth studies: post-quantum cryptography, AEAD, and 6G security. Let's move to the next slide and see a closer look at these three studies. So as Christian explained, quantum threats are genuine and pressing concern. To address these emerging risks, PQC study provide a robust framework to guide our transition from classical to quantum resistance cryptography, all while ensuring network compatibility. Importantly, this is a G-agnostic study. Its findings and recommendations are designed to benefit both 5G and 6G networks. As for the key milestone, this study is scheduled to conclude by June 2026. PQC specification for 5G will be available by Q2 2027, and for 6G, PQC specification are target for release in Q1 2029 as a part of Release 21. If you refer to the figure on this slide, you will see the quantum threats primarily impact the asymmetric cryptography. A thorough analysis was conducted to define which 5G interfaces and algorithms are most vulnerable. These are highlighted in red circle in the diagram, marking the critical areas where enhanced protection is required. On the expected outcome, the PQC study aimed to deliver several key results. First, clear strategies for adopting both hybrid and standalone PQC, tailored to standardization timeline, threat severity, regulatory requirement. Second, revised crypto profile for widely used protocol like TLS, IPsec, PKI, and JOSE, etc. This study will recommend a specific RFC and the draft for adoption and deprecation. This study also ensures cross-SDO alignment of cryptographic standards, implementation guideline, transition timeline. On the solution side, there are two aspects. Quantum safe SUKI, developing the mechanism to protect against quantum threat in subscriber privacy. Quantum safe Mikisaki. Given the Mikisaki importance for the mission critical communication, the fact that IETF is not currently prioritizing its update, our study will either propose a robust solution or at minimum undertake a thorough analysis. A liaison statement has been sent to IETF to initiate further discussion and seek alignment. Overall, this study is fundamental step to ensure network remains secure and resilient in post-quantum world. Let's move to the third slide on AEID. As illustrated in the figure, authenticated encryption with associated data, or AEID, is a cryptographic approach that combines both encryption and integrity protection into a single unified operation. It also provides origin verification. The motivation behind 3GP AED study is to prepare next generation 3GP system, particularly for 6G, to support AED 256 algorithm across both access stratum and non-access stratum security layer. AED algorithms deliver significant benefit. They improve throughput, the power efficiency through single pass of processing, eliminate the need for separate encryption and authentication operation. On the timeline, it is similar to 6G timeline as explained for the PQC. If we go deeper into this, the study encompasses several critical areas. First, algorithm evaluation. Comprehensive analysis of 256-bit AED algorithm and establishment of clear selection criteria with focus on single pass optimization opportunity. Second, security assessment of AED. Third, cryptographic specifications. Development of updated security specifications then seamlessly integrate AED into both AS and NAS security architecture. This approach standardization effort ensure the 6G network will leverage the efficiency and security advantages of modern cryptographic approach. Let's move to the next slide on 6G security study. This is the main study which covers pure security items and provides security solutions for architecture and RAN security enhancement in 6G. It will also define procedure and alignment related to PQC and AED in mainstream. I have categorized them into two colors. Dark blue color boxes on the left hand side are security items that are already agreed. Light blue color boxes on the right hand side are security items that will possibly be agreed in the next meeting. Let's walk through few of the items on the list. Security architecture. It forms a foundational pillar for 6G security. It defines security domain specific to 6G, establish the characteristics, define cryptographic key hierarchy. RAN security. As name suggested, it's going to cover security and privacy of RAN architecture and enhancement. One of the important aspects here is that lower layer security, because MAC CEs are not protected in 5G, more use cases are being added in 6G, so their protection is very much required. Other aspects are security protection of mobility between 5G NR and 6G radio, security of RAN and core interface, etc. Next item is UE to core network security. It will mainly cover new NAS related security, 5G to 6G interworking, AED alignment for NAS, etc. Next is authentication enhancement. It will mainly cover the UE authentication, re-authentication, subscriber privacy, and credential storage. Last two items are related to exposure and core network security and roaming aspect. Now on the right hand side, I have listed these items for the reference like security monitoring, sensing, AI, where Divya has already given the good details, data privacy, anti-net, etc. As explained, these items may get agreed in the next meeting. With that, I'm done. Back to you, Rudi.
Thank you, Saurabh, for those valuable and timely insights. Great to see that you and your team Nokia colleagues continue to be a driving force in standardization. And now I'd like to hand it over to Emrah to walk us through the next steps to realize our 6G security ambition.
Thank you, Rudi. Before I start talking about the way forward towards 6G, I'd like to reiterate the main points that my colleagues talked about so far. In the center of Nokia's 6G security strategy, there is this secure by design principle, as we do not want security to be an afterthought but strongly incorporated into the architecture design. Realizing this secure by design principle will result in four main characteristics that 6G will incorporate to serve as society's fully trusted communication system. First characteristics is privacy preservation for all sensitive data and machine learning models for the entire AI lifecycle, as well as for any type of data requiring confidentiality. Second one is the resilience and reliability to ensure full availability of the society's critical infrastructure and respective applications and services. Third characteristics is automated security, enforcing never trust, always verify approach by continuous monitoring and verification of identities and operations in the network. Last but not least is embedded sustainability, which on one hand ensures energy efficiency in security features and on the other hand contributes to societal sustainability by mandating trustworthiness and legal compliance. When it comes to the main highlights about the technical security features that 6G will have, I'd like to cover three of them: quantum resistance, AI security, and protection of lower layers. From day one, meaning from the very first 6G release onwards, 6G will incorporate quantum-safe encryption, authentication, and integrity protection mechanisms. 6G will also leverage AI capabilities through a robust security and privacy framework to protect machine learning models, AI agents, data, and automation processes from adversarial attacks. And finally, 6G will be resistant against attacks launched using software-defined radios, by protecting the protocol stack in the lower radio layers and MAC control elements. Before I move to my next slide depicting the following steps in the 6G security journey, I would like to remind our audience that they can find detailed information about what we have been talking so far in our recent blog post and brand new article. Particularly in the article, we also mention how our 3R approach, namely reuse, reinforce, redesign, is used in the development of 6G security features, as already mentioned by Divya. Now I'd like to talk a bit more about the main steps towards a fully secured 6G system. So far, we have been mostly talking about the research and standardization aspects of 6G security, as we are in the standardization phase of our 6G journey. However, as you see on the figure in the slide, security cannot be ensured only by standards, and in Nokia, we work together with all stakeholders in the ecosystem to ensure security in every phase of the system development lifecycle. Starting with the pre-standardization activities, Nokia has run various research projects on 6G security, where we developed most of these novel and robust security technologies mentioned today. Now we are in the study phase for standardization activities to further progress these solutions, and thereafter, the normative phase of standardization will bring us the first 6G technical specification, Release 21. Once the formal technical specs are out, product development teams in Nokia will implement these security features into our products by following our Design for Security DFSEC process to realize the secure 6G product line of Nokia. But then, our products will be deployed to serve users through telecommunications providers' networks all over the world. There as well, the secure deployment of the 6G infrastructure will be ensured with the use of Nokia cyber security services and best practices. Finally, during the entire lifetime of the mobile network, secure operation of the 6G infrastructure and devices will be maintained by automation and continuous monitoring. I think this brings me to the end of my part, and I hand over back to Rudi for the conclusions. Thank you.
Thank you, Emrah. And with that, we reach the end of today's webinar. As we heard today at Nokia, we remain deeply committed to advancing network security. We are actively researching, innovating, and driving standardization efforts to ensure that 6G becomes the most cyber resilient and secure mobile generation ever. If you'd like to learn more about Nokia's 6G vision, I encourage you to visit our website, explore our blogs and white papers, and follow us on social media. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today, and a big shout out to our 4 speakers, Christian, Divya, Saurabh, and Emrah. See you next time.